Good evening, everybody. It is 6:58. We're going to wait a few more minutes before I start. Christian, if you're there, I started the recording. Let's see. Mike Jager's joining us. You hear me typing. I'm adding names to the wheel. We're going to have some plays to review. We're going to spin the wheel and see who gets first crack at it. I took the names from last week's survey and then people that I see signing in tonight. So it is 7 o'clock. Good evening and welcome. This is training module 3. Today's date is February 18th, 2024. I hope you had a fantastic day. What we're going to work on tonight is we are going to work on plays. I reviewed the survey and people said like tips and tricks in communication with coaches. So I kind of combined that together, came up with some plays to kind of challenge our thinking and hopefully have some discussions. There are some questions. Is this a foul or is not a foul? What would be the circumstances to change if it's not a foul? What circumstances could change to make it a foul? And overall, the goal is to develop our officiating skill set using individual skills and commitment to improving. Tonight's welcome is this. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor of Rome. You might be familiar with him from the movie Gladiator. He had a collection of his journals called the Meditations. And he said he was a lacrosse official too. And so he said, today I will meet coaches that are meddling, ungrateful, and misinformed. Players will be malicious and aggressive. I cannot be harmed by any of them, as none will affect me with a wrong. I want you to think about how can you use this maximum to improve your officiating? How can you use this maxim of today I will meet coaches as we walk on the field? There's going to be people that disagree. There's going to be players that are going to be misinformed. There's going to be fans that are yelling, that's a ward, and that is helmet. But you cannot be harmed as none of them can infect you with a wrong. Ideas, reactions.
You need to be knowledgeable enough in the rules that you can be confident enough not to doubt yourself if you're challenged on the field. Because if you doubt yourself, then you can get in your own head about the next play and the next play and the next play after that. And that's why you need to be confident in the call you made and move on.
Thank you, Nick. Anyone else? Perspective? Opinions. How do you not let coaches get you?
Perez, I've got one. I'm going to go right from the top of his first paragraph where he says, "Today I will meet coaches that are meddling, ungrateful, and misinformed."
Okay.
That just points out that coaches are going to have an agenda of their own, and that's to see their team win, no matter and that's by any means necessary. So if they have to, try and sidestep the rules of the game and and compromise a little integrity, they're gonna do so. But you just have to realize that they're gonna do it, and you can't take it personally, and you still have to officiate the game by the letter and the spirit of the rule book, and quite honestly, just not let any of that other shit get to your head.
Thank you. Other perspectives and opinions? I mean, for me, I go into a game and it's like, okay, this is going to happen, and I prepare myself. It's like, this is what I can expect today, and then it's like I think that I will be in control, and then something will happen, and it was like I questioned myself. I'm like, why did you have to react like that? And so I know coach communication and player communication is something that I constantly work on. And I've gotten better at it, but it's still a work in progress for me. Go ahead, Mike.
One thing for those of you, I don't know if you're watching, but I happen to be watching that Syracuse Maryland game where it went down to the final goal, and they disallowed a goal because of a guy into the goal mouth. But it was really interesting to me to see how the refs, because everybody was obviously going crazy, and the ref just like stand back, just pushed everybody back, say, hold on, I'll explain, let me make the call. And they made a great call, but they also really calmed everybody down before it, and I thought that was very, that shows a great third team on the field.
Thanks, Mike, for that. And one of the things that I took from that was their confidence. It's like, again, dead ball officiating. They weren't panicked. They were calm. They were communicative, and they were confident in whatever decision they made, and their body language kind of exhibited that. And so when the ball is dead, we have that chance to shine. So not be in a hurry, to be calm, to be confident, to be communicative is one key in dead ball officiating. Anyone else? All righty, Fridays. Let's see. The topic tonight is, when does an action become a foul? So I'm going to, I had some plays that some of them were from my game yesterday, and some of them are just things that I've been observing. And I'm wondering, what is it that we can do? What are the criteria to call a foul? And then how can we better explain that to coaches? So taken from people's perspectives and opinions, and kind of USA Hockey has outlined it. It's like, when should fouls be called? And the kind of 4 criteria that are outlined are safety, obvious fouls, a scoring opportunity is denied, or advantage is gained or lost. We also call it advantage, disadvantage. And so I have some examples of like safety, a cross check to the ear hole. We should call a foul when a kid gets cross checked in the ear hole. That's a safety issue. So let's strive to make that call as consistent as possible. Obvious. Sometimes it's obvious. A beaten defender grabs an attackman. And so that's an obvious call. I know Randy has mentioned, oh, if grandma in the 6th row can see it, I should call it. And so that is the obvious one. Scoring opportunity denied. Now, as we go down, they become a little more gray. Scoring opportunity is denied. An attackman is in position to shoot and is fouled, preventing the release of a shot. That is one. It's like, okay, we can extrapolate that. And it was like, oh, with 3 more steps, he could have gotten a shot off, or maybe not gotten a shot off. But one criteria for calling a foul might be scoring opportunity is denied, and then advantage is gained or lost. I look at that. An example is, after a faceoff, A1 holds B1. during a loose ball, and his teammate comes and scoops the ball up. So A2 gains possession. So the hold might not be as visible as a cross check to the ear hole, but the advantage is gained. After hearing that, what are some other people's kind of criteria for calling a call, for having an action become a foul? Do we all go by these four? These are the universal ones.
I think maybe something to do with sportsmanship, loud F-bomb drop so grandma can hear it, especially
Okay.
at an opponent,
Okay.
or something that would be, a sportsmanship type call conduct.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Tim. I mean, that is one that I overlooked. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's like if we have these, if a kid says it and he's cussing himself, it's okay. But if he's cussing someone else, or the volume of it is attention getting or attention seeking behavior, then that is another criteria that we could use.
Steve, is there perhaps a game management aspect to this where
Tell me more.
you might call maybe a borderline push just to slow the game down, or get just kind of calm everybody down for one reason or another?
Okay, thank you. And Mark, what is it important that happens? I mean, I heard calm the game down if something's happening. What other times is there, or what are the situations where we might exercise kind of that game management? I need to call this so that this could happen.
Well, I think there's when the game maybe is starting to get a little chippy.
Okay.
And we just kind of need to bring everybody back in to make sure that, a lacrosse game will break out here.
Okay.
There might be, you might have if you've got a blowout game, and you just need some time to run off the clock.
Okay.
Perhaps might be another time you might do that.
Okay. Dave Wooleen, yesterday we were working together and I heard that come from you. What were you seeing that prompted you to say, hey, this game is happening like this, let's do this? What were you seeing? What were you feeling? Because I thought it was very timely.
Are you talking about the increased intensity of the game?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you reminded us at halftime, this is what we might expect.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was, number one, it was a very close game, low scoring. I thought the teams were very equal in talent and skill level. And but one team was definitely playing more aggressively than the other. And so it's really difficult to understand or to explain what it is that you see in a situation like that. It's very much a feeling from experience. Knowing that, you're seeing maybe a couple of late hits, or maybe some of the hits are getting to be close to not necessary, not really a penalty or a foul level, but they're just getting closer than where they should be. And so that's just something that I always like to make my my partners aware that this is kind of what I'm seeing. And so let's just, be aware of it.
What I heard in that is it's kind of a feeling. And as we work games, we develop this feeling. And I'm wondering, how can we better help less experienced officials? Because as a first or a second year person, everything's coming at me really fast. Everything looks like it's a million miles an hour. And now it's going to get worse. I mean, what advice, what tips might we offer someone that doesn't have that game experience?
Yeah, that's a great question, Steve. And what I like to do is exactly what I did yesterday is I ask opinions. What are you seeing? Any break that we get, I ask, what are you seeing? And if I'm not getting a response that I would expect from somebody who's seeing what I'm seeing, then I'll lead up to him. I said, well, have you noticed this, or have you seen this? And, just trying to bring them to the idea of what I'm looking at and looking for, and, showing them this is kind of the thing that is happening. And this is where you're going to gain your experience by knowing these kinds of things.
Randy Cohn, you're often a crew chief in games, working with guys that don't have as much experience as you. How do you help guide them along in this what fouls should be called and when we call them? Are you there, Randy? Mark Jameson, same situation. You're often leading other less experienced officials. How can you help guide them? Or how do you help guide them? Sid the Kid, how do you help
I'm here.
guide
Sorry. I walked across the room. I had to run back to hit my mute button.
No rest for the wicked.
I think, and I know Randy's around because I just got assigned a bunch of games like 2 minutes ago. I think Dave kind of hit it on the head. The key is to talk about stuff.
Okay.
Right. And to bring that up and say, hey, here's the situation. I think we need to do this or do that. Or, another one I was thinking, Steve, is sometimes you might call a penalty, just a technical foul, to get the ball off the ground.
Mhm.
If you've got a couple of teams that don't have good, stick skills. But I think it's communication. It's that dead ball, talking about it during timeouts, in between periods, at halftime. What do we got to get in front of the direction of the game before it gets in front of you?
Okay. Thank you, sir. So with that, let's move into these plays, and I have my random wheel of choice. So I'm going to read the situation. We'll spin the wheel and see who's lucky enough to give their opinion on it. Let's see. Play one. Okay, A1 has the ball, and this is all. I don't have any visuals or graphics with these, so we're going to have to read them and then we can clarify. A1 has the ball at the top of the attack box and is defended by B1, a short stick midi. A1 drives down the alley on the goalkeeper's left. B1 has constant pressure on A1's hips at the 9 o'clock position. So if your belly button's 12, your right hip is 3, your tailbone is 6, and your left hip bone is 9. So that's the 9 o'clock position. He's going to the left. He's riding him with his hands, and then with the contact is made at the attackman's 9 o'clock position on his hips, and he's maintained contact. But as he turned the diagonal, now it kind of shifts to the 7 o'clock position, so more at the top of his butt cheek. A1 shoots the ball, and B1's momentum causes A1 to fall after the shot. Is this a foul on B1? Why or why not? If so, what is the foul? And what is the time served? Let's see. Let's go to our wheel of torture. Is Mitch here? If not, we can spin it again. Wait, oh, he's not there. Mark, you were close enough. Mark, is this a foul?
You're gonna have to call on somebody else. Seriously,
Okay. Mateo, you were
I had to go do the
line.
thing that I had to run back for.
Okay.
Mateo, anyway,
is this a foul?
On somebody else.
Mateo,
I'll do the next one.
That is it. It is hard to describe a foul.
It is
if you don't see it.
Right.
Is there's just like we've been talking about all night. There's a lot of things that goes into it.
So,
pace of play.
What
contact.
do you think? What's your first reaction? What's your gut instinct?
First reaction, if he's riding him, he's probably maintaining equal contact. Shot goes through, he falls on top of it. In that instance, if he's laying on top of him, that guy's not able to get up in that quick second, I got technical foul holding right there.
Okay.
But if it's no contact and they're both getting up, hey, sorry, my bad, whatever kind of thing, we're all good. Play continues. That's how I see that.
So what I heard was if constant contact is maintained, you're going to lean towards that's a legal play.
Mm-hmm.
what if he lost contact and then reestablished contact and displaces the shooter?
If that's the case, I probably would just have a technical foul.
Okay. For what?
Depending on technical foul, I got either if shots are already away, we can have interference or loose ball push kind of scenario.
Okay.
But I would not have time serving unless the foul was very much egregious and it was the contact continued beyond him reestablishing that moment of contact.
Okay, so going back to the criteria of safety obvious scoring opportunity denied or advantage disadvantage lost, what would you tend to, or what would you identify your thinking as?
First thing is always safety in that moment. It's like where's contact initiated and where's finishing. And then after that, it's advantage disadvantage if that guy's still on him and not letting that shooter to get back up in a reasonable amount of time. Then I got disadvantage on that shooter to get back into play.
Okay. Other thoughts and opinions? We have a guy that's riding him down the alley. The attackman turns to the goal. The pressure goes from directly from the side to diagonally from the side or back, but not directly on the back. Guy shoots the ball. Do you have a foul? What would you be weighing there? And going back to Mike's issue, talk about that overtime goal. This is similar to that. Was there constant contact? Did the pressure from the defending player force the guy into the goal crease or goal mouth? So from this, what I heard was constant contact or constant pressure. He never lost contact. Is going to probably weigh this more in terms of a legal play than illegal play. Any other thoughts before I move on?
This is Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Yeah, my initial reaction was he got the shot off. So if you call a foul, does he get two shots? Or two bites out of the apple? I don't know. That was my reaction first. So.
Okay. So whenever you read about this play, I mean, of course you didn't see it, but you read about this play, it's like, okay, he got the shot off, and therefore if we give him another bite, is that unfair to the defense? What did the defense do wrong is what I'm wondering. Next. Play two.
Steve, if I could.
Go ahead, Scott.
Got it. If I could add in, I think you just kind of hit on it. I mean, the defense has to commit a foul, right? And I think a concept that often goes under the radar, doesn't get talked about enough, is, if the offensive player does something to change what was legal contact into illegal contact, that's not on the defender, right? We sometimes talk about this if the guy gives up his back, right? He sees contact coming and he kind of turtles. That's not on the defender if the offensive guy is turtling. So, you seem to have described the situation here where the defender maintained position. He didn't change the way he was playing. And as the offensive player made an attempt to get to the cage, that changed otherwise legal contact. So that would not be on the defender. But again, we're describing things and not watching film, so
right.
I'm not going to speak in absolute.
And even if we had film, we would still be like, what does he maintain constant contact and things like that? And so I think you bring up an important point, and in that, what did the defender do, or did the offensive player put this in this position? And further, even if we're reading or if we see it, there's still going to be judgment. So I'm hoping that we're thinking about what criteria would change it for us, and kind of having that thinking become instantaneous as we are judging plays and as they flow. It's not like, at first it's like, oh, that's a cross check because this happened, and then we start picking up our processing speed in that. But thank you. Play two. Goalkeeper A1 makes a save. He leaves the crease because he has 4 seconds to vacate. B1 is defending A1. A1 is cradling the ball as he is evading B1. B1 attempts to poke check A1's stick head. So he's cradling like this, and there's an attempted poke check. B1 misses the attempted check, contacts A1 on the cage, and his head snaps back. Is this a foul on B1? Why or why not? What is the foul? What is time served? Is it a slash? Let's see. Where's my wheel of death? I don't even know if these people are here.
Because I don't even know if all these people are here.
Christian! Is Christian here? Christian was here.
My name's on. I'm calling me. What would you call that?
I'd say it's I'd say
So what's your opinion?
What do we got? We have a slash?
I'd say it's a slash.
How
violently did his head go back?
All right, it just says it goes back. It's like, but maybe his helmet's loose and the helmet just slides back and his head never moved.
That's a penalty, yeah.
I'd almost have like it was explained earlier that if he's moving his stick around without seeing an actual play, that was created with the attempt to make a move. Now, if he violently hit his head back, then it might be a little bit of an unnecessary roughness, but kind of hard to judge without seeing a play.
So we have a slash, but it's head contact. What is the penalty?
1 minute, non-releasable.
So 2 minutes.
2 minutes
1
for
minute.
direct.
This is direct or indirect?
I have
Okay.
In this case, it's direct. I mean, it went right to the mask, to the head.
Okay, thanks, Matt. So Matt claiming 2 minutes because it's a direct, it's direct. Indirect is starts low by the criteria that's given in the book, starts low, ends high. And so this is an interesting one because there's a couple of different things, because some people believe that like a poke check is not a slash because it's a poke check, it's this way.
A peripheral thought on this too, Steve, is that just because it is not an intended action, just because it's not meant to be that way, does not necessarily mean it's not a foul. I know there's a lot of negatives in that comment, but you know, the offense can make a move when the defender's making a defensive play, and it can cause a cross to come to the head like this. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a penalty, because the action is there. You know, he put himself in a position to be to put his cross in the face mask of the offensive player. So got to get that cross down a little bit lower.
Opinions, other ideas. So what I heard was it could be a slash, it could be head contact 2 minutes, or it could be a 1 minute penalty. So I think this is one that is worthy of debate. And I mean, because we heard some different things. It's a one-on-one. So it's down on one end of the field. Is everyone watching? Is it obvious? I don't know. It's one-on-one. The kid gets hit in the face and his head snaps back.
Hey, Steve.
Yes.
Can I play devil's advocate for a minute?
Sure, please. This is why we do this.
So let's say you do throw a flag.
Okay.
Slash. And you have a coach that reads the rule book.
Okay.
And he says in the rules, the slash is the motion of the stick with deliberate viciousness or reckless abandon.
Right.
How as an official could I argue in your scenario right there?
Right.
That was deliberately vicious or done with reckless abandon. I'm just trying to play the other side.
So for me, that's why I wouldn't call it a slash.
Yeah.
Because it was controlled, but it was contact to the head. And
Yeah,
so
that's probably where you could use the indirect.
But yesterday I had this play, and I had it. I called it a 1 minute lock because I could.
Yeah. Well, even this weekend too, with Mateo, it was Mateo and I. We had one too, where we called a slash 1 minute locked in because of indirect head contact.
Okay.
Again, this is WILOA, but I think conceptually we're talking the same thing.
Right. I just worry about, like, that's why I personally I don't like calling, like, identifying the type of head contact. Because if I say it's a slash and it's a poke check, then it wasn't a slashing action, but it's head contact.
I have no problem telling a coach straight in the eye that the kid poking his stick in the direction of another player's face counts as reckless abandon, but that's just me.
Actually, poking your stick in a player's face could be also a legal procedure.
Right.
Depending on the severity of it. So
Yeah, I
you
was
might
saying,
be careful
there's
with
something else in
saying
the book that identifies that as isn't that
if you flick,
unnecessary.
thrust, or
Yep, that's
put it in
exactly
your
what I was
opponent's
thinking of.
face, it's illegal procedure.
Yeah, it's an attempt to intimidate. It's also there.
So I don't think the rule book defines like the types of checks that can be considered slash. It describes the type of contact as a strike or a blow, or swinging the stick with deliberate viciousness or reckless abandon. You could throw a poke check, a slap check, a lift check, a kayak, a ding dong, like, and any of them that miss and strike the face could be considered a slash.
Yes.
Agree.
Okay, so this poke check could be a slash.
Okay.
I mean, even that says Article 2, striking an opponent in an attempt to dislodge the ball.
Which like, so a poke check that misses the stick and gets it right in the face is no different than an over the head check that misses the stick and clips way more of the helmet on the way down, and we give that a 1 minute slashing call.
The reason that I specified poke check in this instant is because I've heard other officials explain that a poke check is not a blow or a strike.
And I would argue that those officials have not played lacrosse, and that any of these checks I just described could be, that's why the rule book does not describe the list of checks that can result in a slash. They describe types of contact, right? We're not officiating the outcome. We're not officiating the outcome. We're officiating the action.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. That's helpful to me. So this scenario was generated the discussion that I hoped it would. Next, play 3. A1 shoots the ball in an attempt to score. A2 and B1 run to the end line. A1 dives and his hand is in contacts the boundary line before the ball crosses the end line. B2 has stayed on his feet, but is not closer to the line than A2, who is on the ground when the ball crossed the line. Who gets the ball and why? The magic wheel says oh, Don. What do you got, Don?
All right, so A2 is on the line, so he is out of bounds before the ball crosses the line, so he's no longer a player. So if you're all the way in position on the line and you can see that, then it's going to be B's ball. If you're not in position to see that his hand is touching the line, then you're likely going to give the ball to A.
Thank you, sir. And what I heard was A1 is not an eligible player because he's out of bounds. Questions, comments, concerns? Everybody's got that one?
It happens. The times I see it happen the most is when you get a ball that hits the top bar and goes sky high, and people just run, and it doesn't go out of bounds before they get out of bounds, and they're like, "Why? I was closer." Like, no, you were out of bounds.
Yep.
That play happens more often than what you would think.
So what is the key to getting it right? Going back to Don, can you remind us how to get that play right?
Get your butt down to the end line.
And be aware where the ball is. But don't stare at the ball.
That too.
Don't stare at the ball, because then it's like, then we're in trouble. All right, play 3. Whoops. Attendance. If you're watching this after February 18th, please text training 3 attendance code phrase helmet. And you have to say it like the parents who scream it when they're watching a game. So you've all heard it. So you can laugh to yourself of who had the most annoying helmet call And that is the lowest rung on the pyramid of parent IQ, lacrosse IQ. So it's helmet, followed by that's award. So those are the lowest two. Next, play 4. B1, a long pole is attempting to clear the ball in his defensive half. B2 is near the substitution box, awaiting a pass or the pass. B1 passes the ball to B2. After the pass is released, B1's cross contacts A1 in the head or neck. A1 immediately falls to the ground. Is this a foul on B1? Why or why not? If so, what is the foul? What is the time served? So we have a pass and a kid getting hit with a stick. Is Alex here? Alex, not here? Anybody want to take a crack?
You have to
Kristen
think about the natural
again.
follow through.
Kristen again. All right, Matt, you took it over. What do you got, Matt?
You got to think about the natural follow through.
Tell me more. Explain it.
So, I mean, it's the same situation as you look from like a goalie clearing the ball. Was it part of a natural follow through in a pass, or did he have a deliberate extension of the cross following through to make contact?
So natural follow through. How do we see that as officials? What tips would anyone have to make sure that that play is officiated as best as we can?
For me, like sometimes it's just getting used to the body language of what you see from the goalie during the game and understanding what that natural follow through looks like when they are clearing the ball.
Okay.
Other times, like you can tell that when from a goalie's perspective too, when they follow through and they're trying to embellish a little bit, you can tell.
Okay.
One key here, Steve, is do not ball watch. Don't follow that pass. You're watching the passer and shooter at all times. If you're that on official at the time of the pass or the shot, you're watching that passer and shooter. Let your partners take care of the rest of the business.
Thank you. I think that's key. It's like stay with. How do we see that? We stay with that play. In a 2-man game, it's really tempting to chase to ball watch and follow the ball. Just stay with that passer, and stay with him and see what happens, because sometimes those natural follow throughs will lead to contact, or everybody hears the crack of the helmet and then everybody's going to scream helmet. And it's a weird feeling not to be able to say, it's like, oh, I saw the whole thing. This is what happened, rather than there's 2 players laying on the ground or because they cracked heads.
Steve, you see this a lot in goalie play. The goalie makes a save. You've got the attackman who's standing there right at the top of the crease with his arms in the air or whatever, right? And the goalie, if you're not watching it, I've called this more than several times, is the goalie will actually go out of its natural throwing motion to hit the attackman, so to try to draw goalie interference.
How do you get that right?
Dave, would you do exactly what Dave said? You cannot follow the ball. You have to stay there when it happens. You can tell. We've all seen enough lacrosse where this is somebody throws the ball, and what the natural follow through is going to be or should be, and when it's not that way, then that's your situation. But the key is you got to see it, and so you got to hang there.
We have the sound. Then what happens next? We see the contact. Then what happens next?
It's either a nothing or it's a goalie, or in this case, it's a, if
the ball's in the air, what do we do? Talk us through it.
Okay, so this guy,
I chucked the ball. Crack.
Okay, so
you're the official. Now what happens?
So you chuck the ball.
Yep.
If you don't,
I'm within my crease. I'm legal.
Yep.
I don't have an exaggerated follow through. I'm standing in my crease and I throw it, and there's contact.
And it's a natural follow through.
Natural follow through.
You put your palms up and I got nothing and away we go.
Okay. Or what could we have?
Or now if it's not the natural follow through, which may be both the the strength in which the pole hits the guy.
Okay.
You may have a slash or what does it happen here? What do you hit him in the neck?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you hit him in the head. I mean, you might have a slash.
Okay.
But if it's a natural throwing motion and he just happens to hit the kid in the neck or the head, it's let's keep playing lacrosse.
Okay. Other ideas? Other questions? Could we have a play on if this kid, like if there's, oh, not in play 4, never mind. Let's go to next play 5. A1 Amity has received a pass on a clear and entered his offensive half of the field. B1, a long stick midfielder, establishes a defensive position and attempts a slap check on A1. A1 counters the attempted check with a swim move. B1 misses, and then A1 trips over B1's cross after B1 missed the check. Is this a foul on B1? Why or why not? So we have a guy that's attempting to slap check. Boop, boop, swim move over. Now the LSM has his stick down on the ground, static, and A1 trips over it. Is this a foul on B1? Anybody want to take a guess?
I'm going to say there was no secondary action to cause the trip. The stick was there first.
The stick was there first, and A1 ran into it. So it's
yeah.
bad luck on A1.
Yeah, the primary positive action was not an intent to trip.
Okay.
I might still call a hold though.
Call a hold?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he impeded the progress of A1.
Okay.
But at the same time too, because I see this way too much, when those attackmen or midfielders try to swim, you have to watch that free hand come through.
Yeah, because they'll push away.
Yep.
And swim over. So what I heard was it's the defensive player did nothing because the cross is there, and we could have a hold but not a trip. Any other opinions?
I would take it as a trip because it doesn't matter if he meant to trip him or not.
Okay.
He's swinging his cross. I mean, I'm assuming he's moving his cross because he's the defender. He's not just laying it there and the person's running, sees it 2 seconds and then runs over it. It's quick, and he doesn't mean to do it, but he disadvantaged the guy going, and therefore it's a trip.
Okay. And so in that, is it safety, obvious, scoring opportunity denied? Would you say advantage, disadvantage? What would help shape your thinking, Mike?
Oh, I think it's definitely it's advantage, disadvantage.
Okay.
He disadvantaged the player who made a move.
Okay. Would your advantage, disadvantage be swayed in any way by position on the field? If it's just over midfield versus near the crease?
For me, it would. I think in this situation, since it's just over midfield, I'm more inclined to go for a hold.
Okay.
But if we're in the box, especially near the crease, then I'd be looking for a tripping, make it a 1 minute personal foul instead of just a 30-second. Because then scoring could be impacted for sure.
Okay. Reactions to what Don said, that yes, field position might matter.
By rule, I'm looking at in section 8 in the personal foul section right now. It's talking about how if it's a legal check and the player trips over the cross as a result of a legal check, then it's not a trip. So I think I need to understand more about the miss. What does a miss mean? Does a miss mean you missed and cracked him in the ribs because you did a swim move? Or does it mean you just whiffed and got turf? if it truly was a legal check, even in the scenario Dom's describing, I'm not sure I would go to a trip.
Nick, in my imagination, what I envisioned was a swing and a miss, but no contact. The kid just swims over it, and now the cross is stuck in the ground, like at a 45, 60-degree angle. And then the kid trips over it as he tries to get by.
Yeah, I don't know. Going based off of the text and what you're describing, I'd have a tough time calling it a trip. That's just me.
But doesn't it go on to say, when a player legally checks the cross opponent and the result is to cause the opponent to trip over the opponent's own cross, no foul is committed? That's not what happened. He didn't trip over his own cross. He tripped over the defender's cross.
Yeah, good point.
Good. So this is what we have these plays for, because this stuff happens in an instant, and it's like, okay, is this a foul or not? Any other thoughts or opinions? All right, so we have approximately 15 minutes left. I wanted to go back to last year. We started working on field division and how to officiate, where to look to see plays. And in, I guess, the last training season, I missed the opportunity to share a video that was made. It takes a little bit longer. It's 13 minutes. I'll put the link in the chat, and I am going to ask that you go to this site, and then I'm going to put it in the chat, and then you can watch it at your leisure. And then that's all I have for tonight. Just so I'll give you time to watch this video. If you want to take the remaining time to do that, feel free. If not, then we can say goodnight, and that we will see you again next week. Any other thoughts? Anything for the good of the group that you want to share before we go?
Hopefully everybody read the email today about paying your dues and making sure you're registered with the WIA and you took your test.
Yeah, Steve, I have a question. Now that we're WIAA, how is the WIA handling levels like in other sports? Because I do football, soccer, girls lacrosse as well.
Right.
You know, you got the different levels, L1,
So
L2, L3. What are they doing?
What has happened, and what has happened is, when there is a list of officials right now, that a list of registered officials, and we are all kind of starting at level 1. And then we are working on criteria on how to differentiate that. As the first year, what's frustrating, I will put this out there, what's frustrating right now is the WIAA committees moved all the criteria for soccer to lacrosse. And so the names of the officials and the roles, they're all soccer related. So to change that, we're in the process of making proposals specific to lacrosse. And so in those proposals is how to kind of reclassify people. And so that is a work in progress, but right now they just moved everything from soccer. And so that is, yeah, it's a work in progress, Peter. And so I've offered to help and assist, but they said it needs to be a proposal, because there's no, it's very bureaucratic.
I'll also add, for the purposes of assigning, at least in our area, Peter, so no basis is being given to levels. We're just going to get whatever assignments we get based on availability and based on the nature of the game, if it's a highly contentious game or what we expect to be a low intensity game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that works for me. Thanks.
So, yeah, and the LOAs know you guys, so that was one of the messages in Don's email. Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns? All right, my friends. Thank you. And I will see you
Steve,
next
I do
week.
have one more thing.
Okay, what's up?
So I've been so I initially filled out the initial part of the registration for the WIAA.
Okay.
And then with the background check for it, because I know that they require a background check. Do you know typically how long it takes them to complete the background check? And if that has
Usually,
to
I
be,
mean, I remember it's less than, it's like 5 to 7 days. Could be less.
Okay, so then I should be getting the email back shortly.
Yeah.
And then so after that's completed, then you're able to do the rules video and test.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good.
Then Ryan, I looked today and it says that you're active in good standing on there. You weren't last week when I looked, you were pending.
Okay. So I'll go through and take the test and watch the video then.
Anybody else? Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Steve, for doing this.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thanks, Steve.
Good night.